Ooh. Please turn somebody into a rabbit. If only I can remember about Mrs. Price's spell. Ooh. Yes, ladies and dudes. To tell you the truth is, I'm not a magic magician. Nope. I have no magic powers at all. Sorry. Well, anyway, hi ladies and dudes. This is Rebecca Lynn Barkley, aka Boobop 1987. This is my review for a day. And today's review, ladies and dudes, yes, I got another movie review for all of you. And we are heading back in time, back in the 1970s, from one of the old Disney films that is truly forgotten, and it's also very darn underrated as well. And yes, it did feature our beloved Mrs. Potts, Angela Lansbury, and also the guy who played Mr. Banks from Mary Poppins. So for my next movie review is Bedknobs and Broomsticks. And like I said for my previous videos, yes, I did see this movie on TV. And I remember parts of it here and there. After all, I was 11 years old when I first saw this movie on August 16th, 1998. That was the time when I first saw it. I only seen this movie once, but I never seen this movie again. But not until my later on life. And to tell you the truth is, this movie is pretty darn good. But also one of the most forgotten films of all time. Yeah, everybody truly forgotten this film as time goes on. And I'm sure that this movie wasn't that popular enough, just like Mary Poppins. It says Mary Poppins is one of the best live action films of all time. But what about this movie? I'm sure this movie is really darn popular too, or maybe it's just forgotten. So, anyway, without further ado, ladies and dudes, let's head on to my next movie review, number 177 of Bedknobs and Broomsticks. And yes, right here at the bottom, it did feature a little bit of 2D hand-drawn animation. Something that I truly miss the most from Disney. You know, back in that cool time. So, let's get started on the main plot of the story. It's a story about this lady named Miss Price. She was trying to learn to become a witch. And she has somewhat magical powers, but she's still trying to learn about magic spells and riding on a broom and making magic potions and all that stuff. And also she has to take care of those 3 kids because those 3 kids are orphans and they don't have any parents at all. And yes, she decided to share them her little secret that she is a witch and she can do some magic spells. And yeah, she gave one of the kids one of those the bedknob thing and give it into a little spell. And yeah, they did go on an adventure with the bed and head on to many adventures in some areas in London, England. And then one time they did go on to the 2D hand-drawn animation world so they could pick up something. An item that came from The Lion King. And yeah, a guy named Mr. Brown also helped them out too in their adventures. So, that's all I could say about the main plot of the story of Bedknobs and Broomsticks. And I guess everybody wants to know is, what the heck do I think about this movie? Well, to tell you the truth is, ladies and dudes, I really did enjoy this movie. It is a very good film, but not as memorable as Mary Poppins, since Mary Poppins still remains one of the best memorable Disney live-action films of all time. But for this movie, it's pretty darn good in so many ways. It's an enjoyable movie to watch. I will say it had a pretty good storyline, for the most part. The characters were pretty darn likable. I freaking love the 2D hand-drawn animation. That was one of my favorite parts about the film. And, I also enjoyed the score. I also enjoyed the songs. And, yes, there is a whole lot of magic going on in this film. And also, there's some dance sequence going on in the film, too. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff to be found from this underrated film. So, anyway, ladies and dudes, let's head on to my strongest points and the weakest points of Bedknobs and Broomsticks. I will say for the strongest points for this movie is truly my favorite scene in the whole entire movie. The 2D hand-drawn animation. And also that song I love. Bubbling along on the beautiful briny sea. I'll tell you that song in a moment. Ah, the 2D hand-drawn animation. It was truly the most magical part in the whole entire film for me. Since you know me, I love 2D hand-drawn animation, and I do miss 2D hand-drawn animation so darn much in a Disney film. And I wish they could find a way to bring it back for Disney. And yeah, that Disney Plus thing is too darn overrated for my taste. I want Disney to go back to the way it was. You know, where it's magical, where it's fun. And to feature 2D hand-drawn animation in it. They waste too much time on the CGI stuff. So yeah, I want the CGI stuff to go. I want 2D hand-drawn animation back. But yeah, the 2D hand-drawn animation is the most magical thing I ever cared about in this film. And it was breathtaking. It was so darn magical, like I said, and it brings me back my childhood. And telling you the truth is, about that the soccer scene, it feels like I'm watching a Disney short. You know, what will happen if those animals are facing each other in soccer. And poor Mr. Brown got beat up by those animals 3 frickin' times. 3 frickin' times in that crazy scene of the film. I was laughing my head off. So yeah, the 2D hand-drawn animation is the first strongest point in the film, and the second strongest point of the film is that wonderful song that took place under the sea. Well, before we got the Under the Sea song from The Little Mermaid. Bubbling along, the beautiful, the briny sea. Man, I gotta keep practicing with that song. I will say that was the best song in the whole entire movie. And I really love the underwater sequence. It was so darn cool in so many ways. Even if these characters were not soaking wet and they stayed dry the whole entire time in this scene in the film. I love that song, the Brightly Sea song. It was magical. It was one of the best songs in the whole entire film. And I just like something that took place underwater. What else I could say? So yeah, that's the second strongest point of the film. Yes, the 2 best strongest points in the movie is the 2D hand-drawn animation and that wonderful song that took place under the sea. And now let's go on to the weakest points for this movie. And I found like a few weak points here and there. Like, there was one small mistake in the film where you see Angela Lansbury play Miss Price. You can see a part where she was trying to practicing her broom technique, and you could see some type of string on her back. You will see it. That was one of the mistakes I found in that film. And also, there was one character in the movie who was so darn pointless to the film. I just wish this character needs to be cut off right away or not to be a part of the film at all. And that is, Roddy McDowell. I hope I got that dude's name right. You know, the guy who played one of the apes from the Planet of the Apes films? Yes, he was a part of that movie, and he played some type of priest dude. We only see him like 4 or 5 scenes in the film. And yeah, his character did absolutely nothing. He did nothing in the whole entire movie. All I know is he wants to get to know what Miss Price is doing. That's all I know. So I wish those people should have cut that character off and just continue on with the story with the 5 main characters. And get to know what's going on with them in the story, if you know what I mean. So those are the 2 main weak points I found. One character who's so freaking pointless, while the other, there's one little mistake I found in that film. And let's go on to the characters. There's a lot of great characters to choose from. But I think I will go on character that's truly the most memorable one in the whole entire movie. And that is this guy. Mr. Brown, played by our dear beloved Mr. Banks. The guy who played Mr. Banks from Mary Poppins. And his name is David Thomason. I can't remember his last name. But David's the only one that's truly the easiest part about this guy. Yeah, it's really cool to see him in this film. And like I said, Mr. Brown is truly the best character in the whole entire movie for me. I mean, he's a really, really fun guy to watch. I really love his storyline. I love his personality and attitude. Yeah, in the beginning of the film, when we got introduced to this dude, he was a con artist. He can't do real magic at all. But later on in the film, you start to fall in love with this guy, and he's becoming a main helper for Miss Price. So he could, help her out with the magic that she is lacking all this time. I mean, I really love this dude. I wonder if this David guy was thinking that this is the best role he had ever done in a Disney film. I mean, I just love this dude to death. Oh, hold on a minute. Come on, Sadie. Look, it's Sadie, my cat. She wants to say hello to all of you. Aww. Isn't that nice? I guess she doesn't want to be in camera for a little while. Aww. My sweet little Sadie. Aww. Alright, I'll let you go, little girl. I gotta hurry up and do my final thoughts of the film. So anyway, ladies and dudes, I'll better go ahead and tell you about my final thoughts of Bedknobs and Broomsticks. Overall, Bedknobs and Broomsticks is a really good movie, but not as memorable as Mary Poppins. But still, it's a great movie to watch. I freaking love the storyline. The characters were likable, except for one. It has good 2D hand-drawn animation. It has very nice songs. It had a very neat score. And this is one of the most magical movies that you will never forget in movie history. So I decided to give this film a 9 out of 10. So please check out this movie whenever you can, I guess. I'm sure it might be somewhere around your stores. this is a very underrated movie to watch, and we gotta give this movie a chance. If you know what I mean. So that's my whole entire movie review of Bedknobs and Broomsticks. I hope you enjoy my other movie review I really wanted to do for this year. And join me next time for more movie reviews to come. Like Jumanji or some of those Liam Neeson films I'm trying to get. Or the 2-part Maroney Kenshin films. Or some others. I'm going to do the best I can to get some of those movie reviews out of the way before 2021 will end. If you know what I mean. So, be prepared for my next movie reviews to come, and I'll see you guys later, and sayonara. Make me disappear.